You've been single how long? Wait. 12 years? That's impossible. Ain't no way you've been single for 12 years. You ain't been on no dates or nothing? No. Wait. So, you've been talking to people and they just haven't been working out, or... you know what? You know what it is? You need to spruce yourself up some more. You know, put a little more makeup on, dress up. You know, that's how you get them. Oh, wait. If you could, like, tone it down a notch, don't be so aggressive. Because that could be intimidating to men. So, I mean, they're not going to try to talk to you if they scared to approach you. Ooh, wait. So, you ain't on the dates. You need to get out there more. That's what it is. They can't find you because they don't know where you are. What you think, you just gonna climb through your window? You got to do a little more, okay? If you want him to get to you, you got to do a little more work, Shannon. You are slipping, okay? And smile a little more, because you frowning. You be saying you thinking, but you be frowning a lot, and nobody want to approach that. That's what it is. So just try to do all of that. And you gonna get some play, girl. Because I find it very hard to believe that you have gone 12 years and nothing. Nah, girl. That's crazy. So believe it or not, I have heard all those things before. And it was at times hard to tell if people were trying to comfort me or they were trying to come for me. Either way, it kind of left me in a position to where it was my fault I was in this place. It was because of my personality, or because of my style, or because of my desire to not go out very often to meet people, because I'm actually very introverted, that these are the reasons as to why I'm single. And it was very discouraging. It put me in a place of feeling like, okay, so I'm the problem. And that's not the case. And I know that I'm not the only person who has been in that position. And so, as promised, this video is all about my singleness journey. And so this will start from my first relationship ever to the one that I had that just recently ended. And that nice 12-year gap. And all it entailed, all the emotions that I went through, and everything that has been done to get me to this point. So let's start with relationship number 1. Now, my first relationship, if it counts, I was in middle school, and this girl I was friends with at the time suggested that I should get a boyfriend. I was like, okay. So she hooked it up on 3-way, and next thing I know, I got a boyfriend. And so it didn't really have much substance. There wasn't a lot to it because we were 13, and it's just like, okay, what are we doing? And so we actually came to a mutual decision to end it, because it was like, this is dumb. So that one didn't really hold a lot of significance. So we're gonna fast forward to high school. I met my second boyfriend when I was a sophomore in high school, and then I ended up actually transferring schools, and we ended up back in contact with each other senior year. And we talked, we caught up on, you know, the lost time, realized that we still liked each other. And during the talking period, I remember having this hesitation. And I couldn't really put my finger on what it was, but it was there. And he was like, Shannon, come on, let's get this ball rolling. We need to be together. And I really had a hesitation, and there was a reason as to why. But even still to this day, I don't know why, or what the reasoning was behind my hesitation. But in my mind, I was thinking, you know what? I better say yes to him, because if I don't, he's going to move on, and then I'm going to be sitting here blaming myself. So let's do this. And that's exactly what I did. And so we get together. And if you think about senior year is busy. You got proms, you got all these deadlines, you applying to colleges, your life is literally starting over. You're about to start a new chapter in your life. And so I wasn't really focused. There were times when I could see, like, you know, this really isn't that good, but I still would go for it and pursue it, because I'm like, hey, I got a man. So the time came for us to apply to schools, and I realized that I did not want to go to school with him. As silly as it may sound, I just had heard people say that you go to college with who you in a relationship with, y'all make it, y'all stuck together. Because I knew I wasn't transferring. And so we had actually both gotten into a lot of the same colleges, and he wanted me to follow him. And I was like, no, I don't want to. And so, as you can tell, long story short, we ended up breaking up. And we did because of the signs were there. You know, every time I called, it was a bad time, or when I called and he may or may not have answered, it was just those signs. So I ended things first. And then a mutual friend got us back in touch with each other. And so we talked it over, and I kid you not, like 2 weeks later, we broke up. And I remember, because I seriously remember things. So I remember I was ironing my clothes for class the next day, and I was watching Jamie Foxx because I love the Jamie Foxx show. And it was October 4th, 2005. And he called me, gave me his whole little speech about how he wasn't right for me, and we needed to end things and everything. And I remember when we hung up, I cried. I was devastated. Now, mind you, 2 weeks ago, I just broke up with him. But the toll it took on me, that he broke up with me, jacked me all the way up. I remember crying myself to sleep. I got up the next morning. I had intro to psychology. I sat in the back of the lecture hall and just cried. I was devastated. And I actually started to hate him. I hated him. And I prayed to God after the relationship was over, and I was like, okay, Lord, I can't suffer through this again. I don't want to endure another heartbreak. Can the next man I'm with be my husband? Because I cannot do this. And so I actually spent the next 8 years hating him. I was full of bitterness. I was full of anger. I was full of frustration and sadness. And because I felt like he ruined my only opportunity in marriage. I felt like because he accepted me for who I was, all the other things about me that people would tell me to change, or said it was too much, or that things that I needed to add more to, he loved, he liked. And so I was like, he's got to be the only man that really wants to be with me. If he doesn't want to be with me, what am I gonna do? And so I spent this whole 8-year period hating him. And so thus begins my 12-year period of singleness. "12 years is a very, very, very long time." And when I prayed that, I didn't expect it to take even this long. I thought I was going to be to a point to where I was going to be ready. And as I see right now, I'm still not ready, right? So that whole 8-year period consisted of me trying to talk to him again, him trying to talk to me again, me thinking forgiving him meant trying to befriend him. It was a crazy emotional roller coaster ride that I put myself on. I initiated conversations with him. And so it took me so long to get over him and to realize that I could live life outside of him, forgetting that I lived a life without him before I even met him. But it's like, so this was the hardest part. And so I just remember praying and asking God, why? What's wrong with me? If I'm pretty, if I'm this, and if I'm that, if I'm strong, and I have all these great qualities and things about me, why don't I get a man? Why is it that I feel like I'm in a suffering position? Because I am me. And that's what I felt like was happening to me. Because I am Shannon, and this is the way that I'm made up. I'm destined to be single because nobody wants me. And that was a challenge. And he really helped me through that. There was a lot of beatings that I had to take. And I don't mean beatings as in physically beat down, but things that had to be taken off of me. Because I was really in a deep, dark place. Because my confidence was in the toilet. I did not love, appreciate, or care for myself at all. Because I had put so much stock into what he felt about me. And since I wasn't getting any play from anybody else, I felt like, you know what, he left me because I'm not lovable. And that's how I felt. And so the Lord really helped me with that. Like, I had to pray, I had to read, I had to go through a lot to get to a place of loving myself. And so a pivotal moment in my singleness was in January 2017. And it's important because the Lord had me read about the woman with the issue of blood and a man's daughter who had died. And it's in all four Gospels. Well, John, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Sorry, Matthew, Mark, and Luke is where it's in. And he told me to read it. And so I did. And it was mind-blowing for the simple fact that the woman with the issue of blood was bleeding for 12 years. And the man's daughter was 12. And so there was a significance there. Now peep this. What the Lord wanted me to get from that was that he's going to make me whole, like he made the woman with the issue of blood, and things that seem to appear dead, like the man's daughter, are going to be revived. They appear dead, but they're not. I took that as, he's coming, my house is coming, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And that was not the case. But I had to find that out the hard way. So I go throughout the whole year, and this seemed like this was my year, honey. I was going on dates, talking to people, but then it never went anywhere. Like, I would go on a date and be on the date like, this has got to end soon. Or have a phone conversation, be like, yeah, we're not going to have another one after this. Even pursuing and going after relationships that I knew weren't going anywhere, but I was like, yo, but this is my year. 12th year singleness, this is it. It's done. I'm done. And I was so wrong. It's so embarrassing. I was so wrong, but it's just that classic case of hearing what you want instead of what was actually said. Misinterpretations are horrible when you don't take the time to understand what was really meant. Which brings us to the relationship I had that just ended. So in 2017, in December, I was introduced to my ex. And I was like, Lord, I see what you did there. You waited to the end of the month, had a sister hanging out and just waiting, thinking you left me hanging. And here you go. Because I was like, Lord, your name is on the line. You gonna sit there and tell me my singleness is coming to an end and here we are in December? Okay, because you knew. Because I've been telling people, I was like, yo, my singleness is coming to an end, get excited. And that wasn't the case. Because see, I was like, if I tell people and then I get into a relationship, cool. But if I tell people and it don't work out, God gonna look crazy. He gonna look foolish. And that was not the case. I'm the one that looks stupid. And it's so laughable now because I just think about where I was and how crazy it was and how and there's so many other things that happen throughout this journey that are dedicated to other shows. So I can only give it in so many terms right now because I don't want to talk about here what's going to be talked about in future topics. But just know I went through a lot, but you're going to find out exactly what that lot was. So like I said, we met in December and our first phone conversation was great. Like, it was easy. It was super easy. But I remember thinking, it's cool. It's cool. Like, people telling me to take a chance, but I'm like, nah, I'm all right. And so I remember not reaching out to him anymore that day. And then he texted me that evening. I was like, oh, that was nice. And I even told him I was busy and he was still like real cool and understanding about it. I was like, okay. So then we started talking and then we are heading towards the end of December. And I'm in that same position I was in with my previous ex, that there's a hesitation. And I'm in the same mind frame. Well, he ain't away from me, so I need to jump in. And I don't want to say, because he's not a bad person, but I know that that was a mistake. And I learned it as the relationship progressed. That was way too fast. So remember, we were introduced on December 7th. We became official December 28th. 3 days before the end of the year. I was like, hot dog, here we go. And that's not what I was supposed to be doing. I had convinced myself that this is what I was supposed to be doing, because this is what the Lord had in store. This is what he had planned the whole time. And it wasn't the case. I actually learned so much about myself in the midst of that. I learned to love myself. I learned that, okay, I know I'm not that experienced in relationships, but this doesn't feel like what it's supposed to feel like. I felt like I just wasn't as happy. And I realized how much happier I was single. Because again, don't get me wrong, I have a strong desire to be a wife and a mother. That desire is not gone. But there's such a serious wholeness that has to take place when you are single. And so we actually ended things within 3 months and did that back and forth thing as usual, which is never good. And so things have recently just fully ended. And I feel how good that was for me. And I think about, just in retrospect, how what God was saying to me was that he was going to make me whole. And he was going to help me, fix me, put me in a place where I was going to love, adore, and cherish myself. And it just helped me to realize that no other person can do that for you. I was putting so much stock in a man. He was going to disappoint me every time, because he can't make me love me. He can't take away my loneliness. He can't put me in a place of wholeness. He's a person just like me. If I can't do it for me at this point, what is what he can do going to do for me? That's what's so interesting about singleness. Because if I can be okay in my own company, going and doing places by myself, even though I get on my own nerves, still loving myself, still loving those quirky things that other people don't really love and appreciate about myself, as I get stronger in that, then I'm ready to pursue a relationship, and one that's going to be so serious that my time and effort and everything is always on that other person. I ain't there yet. And I respect that, and I receive that, and I understand that it's partially my fault that I'm still here. So that's just a little background about my relationships and my relationship status at this point, which is single. And I'm okay with that. And it wasn't until within the recent month that I was okay with the fact that I am single. And you are going to hear what I have been through up until this point, and just how encouraged you can be. You are not the only person going through this. I felt like that for the longest. I felt like, you know what? It's just me, because of that long 12-year period. It was just like, yo, is there a cloak over me? Am I invisible? Can y'all see me? That's what it felt like. Because I would go places with friends and I would look and they would see them, but they wouldn't see me. And I'm like, hello, can you see me? And so get ready. You're about to hear everything that I experienced throughout that time and how it has gotten me to where I am right now. I'm grateful for it now. I wasn't then. I was upset, very furious, and angry with God. Felt like he thought that having my life like this was a big fat joke. I thought that he thought it was hysterical, and that my agony was great to him. But it's just like, that's not even who he is. If he is love, how could he find joy in me experiencing this pain? He couldn't. That's not even how he works and operates, right? It's not. It's like, if you just remember, God is a loving God. So although we go through things, and sometimes we go through things and he allows them to happen, that doesn't mean he loves us any less. He can see it all. Remember, he's Alpha and Omega, so he can see it all. So he knows what we're going to be like once we come out of this. And that part is so awesome. Because he knew that I would be here right now. That part. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and do the closing prayer. And I really hope that this encouraged and helps someone out there. That's going to mean the world to me, because it's just nice to know it's not just you, right? So here we go. Dear Lord, I come before you just to thank you, God. I thank you for who you are. I just thank you for being the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and for being the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. We are nothing without you, and we're so grateful for who you are and that you've chosen us to be a part of you. Lord, I pray that any woman under the sound of my voice is blessed. Blessed because she is one of your children. She is holy. She is bad. She is the bomb. And Lord, I pray that you help her to see her worth. That even though she may have been single for a significant amount of time, that has no factor on who she is, on her value, on her beauty, on her brilliance, dear God. Lord, I pray that each day of a woman's singleness journey is a day of empowerment, a day of renewal, Father God. I pray that there is never any doubt, and that we don't put so much stock in what other people have to say about us, because you make no mistakes and we're fearfully and wonderfully made, so there's no reason to really feel as if what other people's opinions about us are fact. I thank you for being you and for being in control and for loving us like you do, dear God. And it's these that I ask in Jesus' name. Amen. So get excited for next week. I'm going to keep it a surprise, but you have to tune in to find out. Have a wonderful week. See you next week.